Jackass the movie was in theaters from October 25th to about January 16th, 2002, in which the film accumulated $64 million in gross profit. It was safe to say the movie was a cultural success, and not only that, but also boosted the career of the Jackass crew members, and sparked dollar signs into the eyes of MTV. A few days following the premiere, Johnny was a guest on Howard Stern that Halloween. Not much was revealed by Knoxville other than his shock at the success of the film.
Ridiculous and wrong that we're #1 in the theaters.
You made it through. Does that say something on the world today?
I don't know what it says, man. It's really funny to us.
The show was, however, taken over by a bet between High Pitch Eric and Johnny Boots, may he rest in peace, which involved Icy Hot and a trip to Hong Kong.
Oh, it's burning already. All right, get out of here. Get out. Oh, that's disgusting.
Have a good time in Hong Kong.
It comes as to no surprise that Howard Stern and the Jackass crew frequently cross paths, given their inclination for shock value and unconventional humor. Steve-O has acknowledged his numerous appearances on many talk shows in his book. There was one appearance with Howard Stern that he referred to on April 2002. However, this was actually referring to his appearance in January 2002.
Today, instead of swallowing 1 goldfish, I'm gonna try 5.
Now, Steve, have you ever done this before?
Yeah, I did one time. I swallowed 1, and I picked it up, and it lived.
Now, what goes into doing this? You just swallow them whole and...
Well, I try to drink a lot of water so that I create a safe environment for the fish in my stomach.
Primarily to promote his second tape, Steve-O Don't Try This at Home, the tour. The discussion revealed around Steve-O's often outrageous stunts, and it became evident that Howard Stern was a fan of Steve-O's daring antics, but he also expressed concern for Steve-O's well-being.
But do you really know where you're...
Yeah, do you consult a doctor about it before you do it?
No, I've been all right with it. Yeah, I'd aim for a different area of the sack.
Wow.
What? You really must have a very high tolerance for pain.
I think I just have more of a distaste for work and school.
Wow, you're like awesome or something.
In particular, Steve-O attempted a stunt involving swallowing and regurgitating 5 goldfish, a feat that both Howard and Robin were initially against. Steve-O, not wanting to waste anybody's time, went through with the stunt, but only 3 of the 5 fish successfully survived. Concerned about the remaining fish, Steve-O contemplated inducing vomiting, but it was too late. Steve-O's condition was likely influenced not only by the remnants of a hangover from the previous night, but also by substances beyond alcohol, including cocaine and nitrous oxide. While in the studio, Steve-O was accompanied by someone by the name of Dee, who entered his life during the Don't Try This at Home tour. Their connection began in Columbus when Dee made a memorable impression by revealing her chest, earning her a spot on stage during Steve-O's performance. This unique introduction led to Dee taking on a multifaceted role as both a roadie and an unofficial partner in Steve-O's life and career during the tour. And while Steve-O isn't the central focus of the series, his story runs parallel to Bam's in a very intriguing way. And this is why I want to take a brief dive into Steve-O's second tape, Steve-O's Don't Try This at Home Volume 2, The Tour. Steve-O's Don't Try This at Home, The Tour, was briefly mentioned in the last season. The tour comprised a series of live performances featuring Steve-O alongside with fellow crew members, Weeman, Preston, Ryan Dunn, and many others along the way.
Like, we didn't even want to have a tour. We didn't know, like, we got this crazy guy, Nick Dunlap, out of Cleveland, Ohio, who's like, I want to pay you a bunch of money to show up at spring break in Panama City, it's like, all right, dude, what do you want me to do?
Nick Dunlap spearheaded this event, recognizing the lucrative potential in Steve-O's work. On the surface, it seemed like a career boost not just for Steve-O, but probably for the entire crew. The events were beloved by fans, and it seemed to be managed with professionalism. However, in hindsight, these events mainly served to enable Steve-O's attention-seeking and substance abuse behaviors, and Dunlap unfortunately seemed to be doing business for himself, essentially using Steve-O's life insurance policy for his own benefit. Additionally, this was a time period where the Jackass crew were on hiatus from one another, going their separate ways once again to pursue personal projects, except in business ventures such as this. But in a 2003 interview with Howard Stern, Weeman expressed his slight disappointment with Steve-O, mostly for participating in certain shows without him, all while leveraging Weeman and the other members' names during the event.
Did you know that Steve-O says he has no contract with
Yeah, I know that. Steve-O's an idiot. He has to use our names on his tours to help sell his tickets.
Are you not friendly with him anymore?
No, I am, but I'm a little upset with him right now because he, uses my name to make money and then he doesn't give me any.
How does he do that?
He goes on these Don't Try This at Home tour featuring Steve-O and cast members from Jackass. He uses all of us, Weeman, Preston, Party Boy. And my friends will call me up and they'll be like, yeah, I went to the show and it's just Steve-O.
Yeah, no Weeman.
Yeah, and he says people yell, Weeman, more than they yell Johnny Knoxville.
It seems to me like the cast of Jackass has grown apart. Is that true?
A little bit.
Yeah.
We all went our own ways, We still call each other and hang out.
It's quite challenging to discuss the specific details of the stunts in this tape, due to the guidelines in place, but the content isn't significantly different from what you might expect in a Steve-O tape. And nonetheless, there's at least 2 moments that I'd like to highlight with you.
Here we are in Cancun, Mexico, and I've decided it's time to get locked out of my room.
The first one I really enjoyed was a humorous incident in which Steve-O intentionally locked himself out of his hotel room with nothing but a pizza box, and then proceeds to seek attention from the hotel staff to unlock his door.
It's 2 a.m. and we're preparing for our eviction party. Yeah, now wait till we get the buzzsaw going.
The second noteworthy moment can be referred to as the Eviction Party, where Steve-O receives a warning that he could face eviction if he continues to be excessively noisy. In response to this, he decides to put this warning to the test by hosting an all-night drunken party with his friends, and they were most definitely noisy. At 3 a.m., they were using power tools to construct a quarter pipe right next to Steve-O's kitchen. These poor neighbors. Steve-O's Don't Try This at Home Volume 2 is a unique gem in its own right. It provides viewers with a raw, unfiltered look at Steve-O. During this period, he was pushing the limits with his stunts due to his self-glorifying ego. But yet this grandiose sense of self was not met without its entertainment. We got to see the trademark Jackass stunts and a lot of shock humor shine through. I wouldn't recommend this for everyone, but for hardcore Jackass fans, this tape is a must-watch. I could also briefly mention Steve-O's career-ending experience.
Hi, I'm Steve-O. If you call in the next 15 minutes, I'll send you the career ender. The video is so packed with naked chicks, controversial footage.
This is pretty much just the forbidden tape. It's Steve-O's most extreme content. I can't talk about it, but just be aware that it exists. Oh, I put a winking emoji there.
We're getting great footage.
We'll talk about more Jackass Howard Stern appearances later on. Same with Steve-O's story briefly later in this chapter. But let me tangent with this. While Steve-O was out in Steve-O land doing what he does best, Bam was left working the most busiest year of his life, leading to the creation of his first featured film, Haggard. Haggard is considered to be one of the CKY crew's most prolific projects to date, stretching as an idea for years. As I mentioned previously, the movie was late into production by early 2002, with a lot of post-production work taking over a good chunk of Bam's time in 2002 and in 2003. The film featured a huge chunk of bonus content, including the making of the film, released around September of 2002. On June 24th, 2003, the film saw its official release, backed by a budget that ranged from approximately $300,000 to about $550,000. Bam contributed a substantial portion of this funding himself, and the crew also received a generous $100,000 from Bam's sponsor, Audio. In a 2003 interview with Transworld Magazine and Ryan G., Bam stated, "Well, when we're doing the CKY videos, it was fun filming digital videos and jumping into shit. We'd be shooting 16mm and it costs so much. The whole time I was like, dude, film looks so good. I'd do anything to do a movie. And I just had $300,000 sitting around and I needed $400,000, so Audio gave me $100,000 and the rest I spent. I knew that it would be a good movie, but the possibility of having the film get fucked up was a serious nightmare." It was revealed by Franz during a WCHE radio interview that the film had a joint release with CKY4. There's also a VHS edition. The movie boasted an impressive soundtrack with more than 25 different songs. The OST even had its own release in the form of a CD, but the CD itself is a bit more pricey than the DVD. The selection of tracks in the film wasn't entirely unexpected, considering the inclusion of him, CKY, Clutch, Iggy Pop, Unanimated, and the tracks that Bam has collaborated on with Deco.
What do you mean? Them shits are so tight. What do you mean what I mean? Them shits are Haggard. What are you doing?
The term Haggard is often defined as looking exhausted and unwell, especially from fatigue, worry, or suffering. It was a word that Bam and his friends frequently used in conversations both before and after this movie. However, when it comes to the film's title, it refers to the character played by Ryan Dunn, who is going through a tumultuous breakup with a girl involved with a devilish Hellboy played by Rake Yan. This storyline was inspired by a real-life relationship experience in Dunn's as well as the other members' life.
That story was like, dude, there was a mix of everybody. Like, you thought about, like, oh, shit, of an ex-girlfriend of mine, an ex-girlfriend of yours, an ex-girlfriend of Ryan's. All that was all kind of put into one.
Reflecting his character's sense of being emotionally worn out, or Haggard. The script for Haggard emerged from years of collaborative ideas between Deco and Bam. Additionally, Hoof, you remember that guy? Pursued studies in writing at Pittsburgh University and is credited with refining the script. Furthermore, Joe Franz played a pivotal role in the film's production, contributing his expertise in cinematography to capture the essence of the transitional period of Westchester. Franz has revealed that Ryan initially resisted such a transitional phase, desiring to maintain the status quo, reflecting a certain reluctance to embrace it. This resistance extended to the character of Glorin, portrayed by Jenn Rivell, a character inspired by a real person named Lauren. Notably, following the film's release, Lauren sued Bam and was awarded a $40,000 settlement. Initially supported by Bam, his stance shifted when he learned about her spending choices.
I mean, I always thought, because I remember when that was a lawsuit and it was an issue, it was like...
When she sued me, she just had a kid, and, I figured, 40 grand could go towards the kid, whatever. Maybe she'd buy a minivan or something. Guess what she bought? Tit!
Jenn Rivell was Bam's older girlfriend and eventually his fiancée at one point. Bam first met Jenn at a skate park when he was 9 and she was 15. However, their romantic involvement didn't begin until she was 23 and he was 17. Although they were together for a significant period of time, their relationship had its share of difficulties. Serious as Dog Dirt on page 179 revealed that by the premiere of CKY3, Bam had developed an interest in another woman named Missy. He had met Missy at the bar 53 North in Westchester during the filming of the movie Haggard. And while in a limo with Missy, and Bam being under the influence of ecstasy, he held Missy's hand, which caused Jenn to become naturally upset. It became evident that Bam's affections had shifted away from Jenn by this point, and he referred to her more as just being a complainer. During the filming of the movie, the two often argued, reflecting the strained nature of their relationship. As for the film's plot, I find it to be deceptively simple, yet humorously intricate. Glorin engages in mind games with Ryan, pretending they are on a break when in reality, she's just toying with his emotions, pushing him into a profound state of depression. Ryan, suspecting infidelity, turns to his friend Bam Margera, who takes on the role as Vallow for a few favors to uncover whether Glorin is sleeping with a metal enthusiast named Hellboy. Vallow in turn seeks out Falcone, portrayed by Deco, who's a quirky inventor participating in an appliance competition on a quest to invent a reverse microwave.
All right, fine. Looks like I'm gonna keep the other $100 for myself. Buy quite a bit of Freon, but... Oh, the $100? Yeah. $100 each? Yeah, but looks like I'm gonna have 200 now. I could get some Freon with that.
While Falcone picks up his dim-witted cousin Rab, played by himself, from the train station, Vallow seeks advice from Dooley, Brandon Novak, who is playing as a drug dealer, and Naked Dave, about some stress relief solutions for Ryan. Naked Dave suggests that Ryan should break bottles behind a Wawa convenience store. And this led to one of the greatest scenes in the movie. Ryan does this and he gets arrested for it, leaving him in handcuffs by fellow officer Tony Hawk.
Please shut up. You don't want to make any more trouble for yourself, son. I'll tell you what, you take your sports watch and you time how long it takes you to get your buddy out of jail, huh? You like that?
However, after hearing about his problem, the arresting cop gives him a break, since he happens to be going through the same problem with his soon-to-be ex-wife.
So I understand your predicament a little bit, but it doesn't justify causing a public disturbance like this.
I know, I'm sorry, sir. I should have been thinking.
You know what? I'll see what we can do about this.
Eventually, Vallow needed to provide concrete evidence to help Ryan achieve closure. However, this plan backfired when Ryan continued to pursue Glorin again, believing that he is the problem and they could change for the better. Unfortunately, as the saying goes, once a thought, always a thought, as Glorin and Hellboy engaged in a romantic encounter while Vallow and Falcone discreetly observe from the closet. Broken by this, Ryan enters his dystopian state once again, but Vallow and Falcone have a plan to get back at Hellboy.
Got beer.
Falcone disguised himself as a metalhead to inform Hellboy about Narkill's latest album at the record shop.
Woo-doo-woo! Woo-doo-woo! I came to bring this to you!
However, he also impersonates Hellboy to do a series of scathing insults about the band towards the store owner named Cactus, who is portrayed by professional skateboarder Jason Ellis.
You're fucked! What?
This led to Hellboy getting his ass kicked, resulting in the trio laughing yet fleeing at his misfortune. A chase occurs, Ryan sought refuge in a taxi and ended up meeting Heather, played by Ryan's actual girlfriend. The two then fell in love and Ryan's eye wound heals. The last scene takes us to a Narkill concert. As Glorin tries to crawl back to Ryan, Ryan tells her off, and everyone makes out at the end. And then Glorin becomes a lesbian, and everyone's happily ever after. So the film's production faced a series of persistent delays and setbacks, with camera issues being a significant challenge.
We bought a camera from a fellow in New York. We went up and tested the camera. The camera was nice, but it had some flaws in it. So we made a deal with the guy. It was all in a handshake. Fix the camera. We need it for a shoot on Friday, after which we have to shoot a feature. Fix the camera, and we buy it. He said no problem. He could have the camera fixed and tested. We picked it up. We shot with it. He had not fixed it or tested it.
And regrettably, this camera was used during the Tony Hawk scene, resulting in shaky and unusable footage, so they would have to do it all again. And this particular setback was a breaking point for Bam, as he spent hours following this, disassociating on top of a parking garage, a location famously associated with Rab's daring act. Additionally, there were issues related to lengthy setup times for lighting, conflicting schedules of individuals involved in the movie, and a significant challenge with Ryan's continuity throughout the film. So in one scene, Ryan's character was attacked by a woman, resulting in a stab wound to the eye and a need to wear an eye patch for the remainder of the film. However, Ryan frequently forgot to wear the eye patch, leading to entire scenes being ruined and necessitating costly reshoots. This situation created tensions between Dunn and Franz when Dunn overheard Franz discussing this issue with Bam behind his back.
So we got in a big fight over this. So he was behind me in this one room, and it wasn't anything I brought up to his face. I didn't bring up to his face.
I was talking shit behind his back.
No, I was. I totally was. But I was like, I wasn't saying anything that wasn't true. I was just like, Bam was complaining about the fucking money he lost and like why we're so behind budget, behind schedule, and Bam's panicking over money. And I'm like, fucking, and he's talking about Dunn, and I'm like, yeah, dude, if Dunn spent fucking 1/10 the time remembering his lines and remembering what he's supposed to wear, then he did go into bars bragging that he was in a cool movie, he wouldn't have to be here. And all of a sudden, what the fuck, you're talking shit? I'm like, I'm not talking shit! That's the truth,
But it's important to note that this disagreement was primarily due to the financial strain the film was causing. Bam was incurring substantial costs from these reshoots, with the flight expenses to have talent fly back being paid out of his pocket. And as I mentioned before, film is much more expensive than digital cameras, and its usage is one and done.
Like we get it developed and it's all shaky and it's like, it's sweet, dude. It's awesome. Now we gotta call Alice and fly them fuck back here.
In that same Transworld interview that I mentioned before, Bam stated, I sat around for like 2 months not doing anything, debating whether or not to go through with it, because it was becoming such a hassle. We never planned on the camera being completely jacked. I was like, sure, we'll probably mess up acting a couple times, and so we'll just make sure to have plenty of extra rolls of film. But nobody thought supposedly that the $80,000 camera we just bought is completely jacked. So then Tony Hawk and Jason Ellis came in, and they are the ones whose footage got jacked? Why couldn't it have been the part with Deco playing around at Ray Young's house with the reverse microwave? Instead, it had to be Tony Hawk wearing a cop outfit in a cop car? Tony had to come back here, and he had to get another cop outfit and another cop car. It was such a mission, but now it's done and it was worth it. I want to quickly mention that the behind the scenes footage for this film can be seen as just as entertaining as the movie itself. It provides very interesting context to the creation of the film.
What's up, Dooley? What's up, sweetheart? Bro, why weren't you at the Rager last night?
What Rager? Maybe because you didn't call me up and invite me.
Watch your mouth, sweetheart.
And it also ends with the Brandon Novak story. I mentioned this documentary before when I had that topic on Brandon Novak. All in all, Haggard is by far worth the watch. I think calling this movie a kindred spirit to the charm of Clerks is not too far off. Both were clever, independent comedic pieces of suburban white trash, and both had a significant cultural impact in their own right. Although I do believe Clerks has a much more laid-back, subtle tone, and Haggard is definitely much more energetic and chaotic. Haggard boasted remarkable visual aesthetics with its stunning establishing shots and its well-executed time lapses. It masterfully captured the perfect moment that embodied the camaraderie of the CKY crew, showcasing them at the pinnacle of their genuine connection.
You know, it's a bummer because I wouldn't say that any one of us were that special, right? Look at us, me and you right at the bottom. But together, we were. It was like the chemistry of the whole group that was something special, and the length of time that we knew each other for. You can't make that. That is just something natural and real. And when we got irritated at each other, that was real. And then we loved each other the next day.
Yeah, it's more like a family squabble, you know.
Absolutely right.
This film transcended the boundaries of a mere narrative about a man's heartache and ensuing conflicts, and it genuinely portrayed the unique quirks and talents of the crew in a manner that would be formidable to replicate. And while the over-sexualization might be considered a little bit excessive by some, the passion put into this project was evident. The inclusion of music videos interspersed between scenes undeniably elevated the overall cinematic experience for me, and the comedy just felt organic and entertaining. Especially Deco and Mark Hanna. You cannot say you're a Bam Margera or CKY fan unless you see this movie, guys. It is a must-watch.
I gotta call the fucking cops. This is crazy. I can't fucking live like this.
While Jackass is often associated with vulgar and shockingly degenerate humor, it undeniably served as a source of inspiration for many worldwide. This inspiration extends beyond mere imitation, as exemplified in the 2003 Canadian satire documentary, Stupidity, directed by Albert Nuremberg. Through interviews, subtle humor, and social commentary, the film explores the essence of humor, the allure of extreme behavior, and how entertainment influences our views on foolishness and risk-taking. It provides an engaging and often comical explanation of this facet of human behavior, categorizing stupidity into 3 classifications: moron, imbecile, and idiot. The documentary, while somewhat dated, carries a unique perspective. Notably, Nuremberg, in the director's commentary, acknowledges his inspiration drawn from the Jackass franchise in igniting the creation of the film. Who better to epitomize this sense of stupidity than the one and only Steve-O?
Pretty much sum it up in the warning that comes on the screen at the beginning of the show. It says, "Warning. The show you've come to see involves heinous abuse of alcohol, horribly crude behavior, and body-damaging stunts performed by idiots under the supervision of no one."
See, this is all coming back together. The documentary even takes us to a Steve-O event, featuring the man himself. I also want to mention it conveys a narrative that lingers in the wake of the show's success, the glorification of foolishness.
You guys talk about there may be a riot tonight? We're worried about it.
As a crowd of post-Steve-O show degenerates wreak havoc on public property, cars, and themselves, This eventually leads to the deployment of a riot squad. And it seems that the narrative here is making a lot of unnecessary implications. Not everyone from Steve-O's show will be this much of a drunken, reckless mess.
Smart, dude. I'm a smart dude. I mean, I make A's and shit, but dude, I like to jump off shit. I like to get a reaction. I like to be the center of attention, dude.
But I can sort of understand this from a non-Jackass fan perspective, that this is kind of a little bit ridiculous. But all in all, I feel like the whole point of the documentary is that stupidity is both ubiquitous and subjective. And I find that this documentary, while cheesy, does convey that message pretty well. But that's all I really have to say about it. I don't really think it's worth watching just because it's so outdated, but it's kind of a little neat piece of Jackass trivia. Lastly, I'd like to talk about the Jackass WinterJam special. In the early months of 2003, another MTV special tied to the Jackass franchise emerged, and it took place at MTV's WinterJam 2003, set in the beautiful Swiss Alps of Davos, Switzerland. The special was dedicated to a concert featuring musical acts such as Guano Apes, Crazy Town, and the legendary pop skate punk icons, Sum 41. So there's limited information that is available out there about this event, but a piece of useless trivia I noted was that Lipton and Nintendo GameCube's Metroid Prime were among the sponsors.
We're the guys from Jackass, and this is WinterJam 1999.
4 members of the Jackass crew participated in the festivities, taking on the role as hosts for their own exclusive special, Jackass the WinterJam Special. The special itself remains somewhat elusive, resembling a piece of lost media, and my knowledge is kind of based on what little information that is out there. There are 2 distinct versions of the special, a 20-minute English version and a 41-minute version dubbed in Russian. So these 2 specials are entirely independent of each other. The Russian version focuses on their experiences leading up to the concert, while the English version carries on and captures the day of the concert itself. The cast of the special includes Bam, Dunn, Pontius, who went by Party Boy, and Dave England, doing what they do best, and that's shitting on other people's cultures. The atmosphere sort of felt like the crew just was casually exploring the area and MTV just simply tagged along and recorded whatever. And they seized the opportunity to partake in various vulgar activities such as riding a chariot to the point of vomiting, or snowboarding with Dave England trying to drink his own urine, curling, and of course indulging in some Jaeger bombs.
I'm never drinking again.
The crew takes on the responsibility of introducing the bands during the show.
This next band's crazy, and they're from a town.
In addition, Bam introduces a new stunt where he falls face first on stage with his hands in his pockets, resulting in his head bouncing off the stage floor. I like to mention how the crew humorously joked about the chaotic crowd in the cold weather and started to dub it as WinterJam 99.
We're really gonna blow WinterJam 99 up. I mean, I thought WinterJam 98 was cool. WinterJam 89. This is gonna be the best WinterJam since 1814, I think.
But that's really all I can sort of talk about when it comes to this special. Anyone that's craving more Jackass content will take some enjoyment in this. However, it can be hard to watch given the quality and the whole being dubbed in Russian part. It really is sad that MTV keeps this footage under lock and key. Hopefully in due time we will gain access to the higher quality full version of this special, but as for now, it will remain as lost media.
Why don't you feel my fucking red face? What? Dude, look how cool this background looks though. I like it.
If I was in a rock band, I'd film my music video in here.